Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. In today's episode, we are going to dive into getting support to do better in business and what it looks like. It's probably the best way I could explain it. And here's why I'd really love you to listen, to tune in. So, because if you understand why it's important to learn what you need to learn and do what you need to do and maybe be held accountable, then this has the potential to not just help you do a little bit better in business, but from what I've seen, it has the potential to be just night and day, really, okay? So I really wanted to do this episode to educate you a little bit more around just what it looks like to get support. And that can be from us, but it can be from anyone, okay? So this is really, it's to educate you around the rules of the game. So if you are a business owner and you feel like you could be doing better in business, you must listen to this episode. So without further ado, let's jump in. For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes or visit betterinbusiness.global. You've tuned into Better in Business with Jeannie. As an award-winning strategic bookkeeper and business veteran, I am dedicated to helping entrepreneurs learn, grow, and prosper. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules, play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar one for the success of any business is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping. If your books are not right up to date, tune into episode 1, please. You can also get in touch with me if you'd like some help. So today we are talking about how the right kind of support in your business can and will be game changing. And I'm going to keep this episode short and sweet, but impactful. Okay. So one of the reasons I was driven to record this episode is that I was at the, let's call it the gym. I was at EMS training the other day. I might tell you what that is. So it's like electric muscle stimulation. That's what it stands for. And a couple of years ago, I decided to give it a try. And I have been doing it for almost 2 years now. Previously, I was in the gym for goodness gracious, I don't know, more than 30 years. But I was having a bit of trouble. So anyway, every week, twice a week, I go and I feel like I get electrocuted for 20 minutes. Anyway, you can find out more about that kind of stuff if you Google EMS training. And they have centres all over the world. It's taking the world by storm. The one I go to is called 20V, and I'm on the Gold Coast. So I go to their Broadbeach one. So if you're on the Gold Coast, anywhere near Broadbeach, it's a great training centre. The trainers there are amazing. I'm digressing, but often people are like, what is this crazy training you do, Jeannie? And it is EMS, electric muscle stimulation. So maybe we'll drop a link to that in the show notes as well. Anyway, I was in there talking to one of the exceptional trainers they have. And for me to say that, I am picky. I have a lot of acumen in this area. Anyway, she's amazing. And she also runs her own little business on the side in the kind of yoga space. And we were just chewing the fat on business and on accountability and on coaching. And she was saying to me that when she does her EMS training session herself, if she's got to do it all by herself without a trainer there, it is so hard, you know. And will she get the motivation to even do it? Will she do it? Maybe not. And she runs her business with her partner, and they are having a bit of trouble taking the action that they need to take in their business. And she used that analogy with him. She said to him, I feel like we need to pay a business coach to kind of kick our ass into gear so that we can, you know, get done all these things we're not getting done. And look, it isn't as simple as I'm just not taking action. Actually, the way I think of it is you need to make sure that you've got people and resources that can give you the education, the information that you need to know. Because so often as business owners, we can be acting on either the wrong information or we don't have information that can be just so game changing and can fast track our results and rocket our results, right? So what kind of support does your business need? Now, I have absolutely, when I created this podcast, I really was thinking about small service-based businesses. Okay. So as a strategic bookkeeper, a small business can be pretty big, but we still categorize them small. It's one of the reasons we say SME, so small to medium enterprise. But a small service-based businesses like trades and professional services. So I'm thinking about that kind of business when I talk about this, okay? So what kind of support does that kind of business need? Yeah. Now I could go into the nuts and bolts and the nitty gritty, but I'm going to keep it a little bit more high level. I'm probably going to share with you a story of what it looks like in real life when you get the support that you need. And then, absolutely, I'm also going to tell you about, what the right support looks like. So I feel like the best way I can tell you this is to kind of tell you how I work with clients myself. Here's how I think about it. So everything begins and ends with the numbers. Absolutely. Like that is not my opinion. That is just how it is. Okay. Because if you think of it this way, the business, it doesn't matter how great the idea is or how great the team is or how great your systems are. If you don't find a way to translate that into the right amount of profit and cash, the business is going to close. Yeah. And so everything begins and ends with the numbers. Yeah. We need the beautiful, up-to-date, accurate accounting records. And then actually we need to make those numbers not just accurate, but meaningful. Then we need to be accountable to what those numbers are telling us. We need to understand what the numbers perhaps need to look like, and then think about the kind of action that needs to be taken in order to change the numbers, which is all about improving profitability and cash. So everything begins and ends with the numbers. And so what we do here, which is to educate you around exactly what you do need to do. So we guide you through everything beginning with the end, everything beginning and ending with the numbers in our Numbers Mastery program, right? So each month we basically need some of your time so you can help us help you to work on optimizing your profit and cash. And there is a magic that happens when you simply lean into this process. And that's the magic that I see when I work with clients, right? Because time flies, and sometimes I'm looking at a client's numbers, especially in order for me to have a look at the results that we're getting together. That's so important, right? And I think, what? It's been 2 years? So there is a magic that happens in the process over time when you play the long game. Okay? But rest assured that this is what success is made of. Knowing your numbers and then using them in a way that moves you to business optimization. Okay? So our structured numbers model and agenda is Numbers 101, Numbers Knowledge, Numbers Strategy, Numbers Targets, and Numbers Monitoring. Okay, so we do have a structured model and agenda. Expect to create and follow an action plan. Yeah? The thing about the action plan that I definitely want to tell you is it should be designed to use on the fly as well as in a more structured way. Life is not perfect. Business is not perfect. It's all kind of a bit messy and stuff gets in the way with the best intentions. And so you should be trying to take action all the time from what you learn on the fly. Okay. And I see that with business owners. I'm watching it at the moment with someone I'm supporting, and she's coming back to me and like, yes, I did this and I tried this and I tried this, and she has got hardly any time. But she's implementing stuff on the fly. Yeah. Will it get better over time? Will she get more organized and structured and strategic? Yes. But you should be able to implement on the fly as well as in a structured way. Okay, so everything begins and ends with the numbers. Then there's the day-to-day business operations. Okay, so let's start with the model and agenda. That is plan, team, marketing, selling, standards. Now, this model is both a way to diagnose what's going on as well as the moving parts and what we need to nail. Okay, when I say we, if you're working with us, this is what we do, but this is to educate you around what you need to do generally. Okay, so this isn't my opinion. This is kind of what I would call, I'm not going to call it general knowledge because you may not know it, but it's general knowledge. It's out there. It's just whether you have the knowledge yet. Okay, I heard that said once, like there's all this knowledge and some of it we have and some of it we don't have, yeah? So this is like general knowledge, but maybe I'm giving you some of this knowledge now, okay? We work with you to diagnose your pain points from that model, right? And then work through strengthening up all the key areas of your day-to-day business operations. Sound boring? Actually, working around the business operations is really fun and exciting. All of my clients love it. Probably when they've got to pay attention to the numbers with their numbers mastery coach, they feel like it's not quite as exciting. But maybe also there can be a little bit of fear attached to sitting down and being accountable to your numbers because numbers are so black and white and linear. It's something that I really love. I like clear rules and I'm a really super direct, clear and direct communicator. And for me, the numbers are like, you're making money or you're losing money or cost of sales is too high or it's spot on or rent as a percentage of turnover is on benchmark or it's not. Very black and white, and so the answers can come quite quickly, all right? And the numbers are either up-to-date, accurate, and easy to read, or they're not, yeah? Things like that. Whereas the business operations can be more like throwing paint to the canvas, so our clients tend to have a lot of fun with me around that area. But interestingly, I always say to them, you are not allowed to miss your numbers mastery meeting. You can miss the one with me, but everything begins and ends with the numbers. So really, really important. So then there's the other stuff. And by that I mean, first off, mindset. Then productivity, and then whatever is bespoke to you. Yeah, because you're unique. And so actually everything we do, right, everything that needs to be done, again, this isn't just around working with us, this is to educate you generally. So everything we do is customized so it fits you, yeah? The way we communicate with you, the way we work with you, the way we coach you. Like one of my clients says he just loves having someone with a really high level of acumen that he can come to and get help from, okay? And I call that style corporate coaching, yeah? Different to someone that needs, just something different, all right? Like another client where I might put together a dream team of 3 people from the organization, and we're working together in a different way, okay? So that's the other stuff, mindset, productivity, and then just the bespoke custom fitting to you, all right? In terms of resources, your team and time, here's what that looks like, okay? And once again, I'm kind of drawing on what we do to educate you around the kind of support that you need, yeah? And support isn't just people, it's also the things like the resources, like the standard operating procedures, okay? So back to in terms of resources, your team and time, here's what that looks like. When I say team, I'm kind of referring to our team. So it looks like your numbers coach will need about 1 structured hour a month with you. If more structured time is needed, we discuss that with you, right? So for example, there are times where we're working with a client and we say, you know what, we feel like we need to catch up once a week for 4 weeks and then just see where we're at. Yeah, you can see how that relates to the customization. Like sometimes we just need to catch up more often, all right? So about 1 structured hour a month. The thing is, the less time we have to spend with you, the more we're giving you, right? We're giving you the gift of time, and time is money. So let's say you caught up with us for half an hour and you get all the results you need, boom. But basically it's a bit structured. So you also have unlimited support from your numbers coach, okay? So that's important so that you can call your numbers coach and just ask the questions you need to ask, right? And the what if questions, that is always really important. Like I said, there is a magic that happens in this process. So now the same kind of thing applies when you're working with your business strategist. All right. So we need about an hour of structured time with you, plus you'll get support. Plus, if we need to catch up more, or like I get times where a client might just say, hey, Jeannie, are you free? I'm going into a really important meeting and I could really do with some help before this. We jump in, we spend whatever amount of time is needed because the support is needed then. Okay, so this is kind of, I like to think of it as like an organic, moving, evolving program with the end in mind, doing better in business, okay, thriving in business, optimizing your business. We also welcome working with any key people like your executive assistant or operations manager, okay? Again, to educate you here, team is the second part of our model. There's a good reason, yeah, and we often find ourselves doing recruitment jobs for clients. And actually ensuring you have key people supporting you and working with us is something that we'll work on with you too, because it's an important part of helping you kick your goals. And I could tell you story after story on that. I think I've shared stories in other podcasts, so I'm not going to hear, but let me tell you right now, finding those key people and having them on your team and having them work with a key person on your team like your business coach, like your numbers coach, is massively impactful and also frees up your time. And the goal is always to recruit people that are better at us in certain jobs, okay? You also get access to an online academy. So what I'll say about that, because this is relevant to what you need yourself. So as appropriate, we'll point you to resources stored in there. You'll use them to do better in business. See a theme here? So I'm going to give you an example. So let's say I'm working with a client. This happens regularly around helping them to be more proactive and structured with their team and get their team reporting to team, which makes everything more efficient. And guess what efficiency does? It frees up profit and cash, and it frees up time, and oh my goodness on that one. So I might point to resources around team rhythm and team meetings, which will give you agendas and how-to videos, etc. Right? So imagine you had this for yourself or an executive assistant, and then we're just making sure you know how to implement them. And then you might come back to me and go, oh my goodness, nobody's interrupting me anymore. The team is working better and more efficiently, and with all that spare time, I went and did something that I've been wanting to do for ages, or I won another big job because I could actually focus more. And actually, these are all true stories, so I'm giving you true examples. Now, in that online academy, we do give you coursework as well. And depending on the way we work with you, because we have various packages, right? And you can absolutely opt into programs that give you really good coursework, like we do. And that is back to the education piece, yeah? We work with a lot of clients in a more premium way where they kind of feel like they don't have the, would we call it time and discipline to sit down and do that themselves. And they really just want the hand-holding and support. So we still use the course content because to a large extent it's driving what we do, right? It's a framework. But rather than you have to do it yourself, we have options around kind of doing it either with you or for you, so that we're just stepping you through everything, in a way that means that you don't always have to sit down and do that coursework. But that is definitely learning what you need to learn, but it's also helped to implement what you need. So that's just another example of the kind of support that business owners need. We are not too far off wrapping up this podcast, but I'm going to also tell you 3 impactful things. They are 3 impactful things, and it also links to success leaves clues with at least, with a couple of these. So 3 impactful things. Number 1, we won't necessarily ask you to work harder, but we may ask you to make harder decisions. That little sentence, if you want to put it on replay, go for it, because success does leave clues, and the clients that allow me to push them, and sometimes I push a little hard to make the harder decisions, they're the ones that basically, if you do this, I can pretty much guarantee you'll at least 10x your investment in us, okay? So if you're working with someone, whether it's us or someone else, or you're finding a way to be supported. So remember, I'll go back to that amazing personal trainer that I was working with only yesterday and what she said, right, about needing the support to do better in business. Yeah. So no matter who you're working with, if you're trying to do it yourself or you're working with someone, I think you need to know that the investment that you put into this kind of thing, it is an investment. It's not a cost, because you will get a return on investment if you make the hard decisions. An example of a hard decision is stepping up as a manager and a leader. So that was two things. So harder decisions. Second one, guarantee you'll at least 10x your investment if you do that. If you're not prepared to change anything, nothing will change, and then we probably won't get great results. So if you're not prepared to change anything or learn anything new, yeah, probably not. But the third thing is play the long game. Yeah, I said earlier, time flies when you're having fun. In the blink of an eye, I do find myself like, wow, it's 2 years gone already. You're not going to get results in a month or 2 months or 3 months. Do we kick goals and get your results? Absolutely, yeah. But what I have seen is that when our clients get really excited about results, and we do too, like I have been brought to tears getting a restaurant to benchmark profit. But basically, here's the way I think of it. Sometimes when we're working together in the early days and we get amazing results, like sometimes amazing results, I think of it like if you were sick and we got you well. You can't just go and, I don't know, run a marathon. You might need to take care of yourself for a while. So even when we get results early, it's about playing the long game and betting all those results into habit and proving that we can get them again and again, and continuing to pull profit, cash, and prosperity out of your business as we're working on those three things all the time. So I'd like to wrap this podcast up by kind of reiterating what we're trying to learn here too. And we are trying to talk about and learn that every business needs support in order to thrive. Okay. We know you've probably heard me talk about the shocking business failure statistics. Yeah. And on top of that, a lot of businesses just are making less than they would do in a job. And yet the businesses that we see that are leaning into spending time and money, investing time and money in being educated, in being held accountable to taking action, basically being coachable and being coached in a structured way that works for them, those are the businesses that we are seeing thrive and go from strength to strength. And like in my personal trainer, right? When I got up yesterday morning, and often like I get up on a Monday morning and I think, imagine if I had to do this myself. It would be so much harder. Yeah. It's not doable. And I do heaps of stuff in between, but twice a week I do a structured, strategic training program that keeps me in incredible shape, right? And I do that with the support of really great professionals. Yeah. And that just strikes me as, so much like business. And like I say, this trainer was saying absolutely they were using that analogy, the two of them, her and her partner, around the fact that they are struggling in business and they recognize that they need the support of a coach. And that word coach can sometimes come with, I don't know how to put it, but I don't like the word coach in business. I don't mind it I love it in the fitness world, but in business, yeah, coach everything has the meaning we give it, and coach isn't very well defined. So definitely I'll tell you, for Better in Business, for me, everything begins and ends with the numbers. So coaching begins and ends with management accounting. Yeah. And beyond that, it's about having the framework and the structure around the business operations and mindset and productivity and all the other stuff to pull it all together and then back to the numbers. Yeah. Begins and ends with the numbers. So let's prove it all in the numbers. So when I go into a client's numbers and I'm not with them, but I'm looking and I'm going, right, I want to see the results. Let's have a look at how profitability has changed in the last year or two. I am in there doing that all by myself because everything begins and ends with the numbers. If you've listened to this podcast and you're thinking, I do feel like I need some help, but I don't know where to start, let me give you a few places to start. So you can absolutely reach out and have a complimentary chat to me, okay? Action costs nothing in that area, but inaction can cost you everything. But I would actually direct you to a podcast I did called Is My Business Healthy? And it's a really short, but it will help you further surface with a bit more detail where you're at now and the opportunity that exists to do better. Okay. We have lots on the menu in terms of how we can help you. It's all about you, doing your due diligence, gathering your information and then making a decision around getting support. We would love to support you if our vibe is your vibe. So for more information, on what we do, you know where to find us. It's all there. I hope you have a prosperous week and I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes. If you'd like to know how I can help you do better in business, you know where to find me, betterinbusiness.global. See you in the next episode.